Yeah, I show you some one thing. Let's be very patient when we are debating an issue. Now the point which falls, first of all, which question I asked you, if Osama bin Laden was killed in Pakistan, why his body was taken away and thrown in the sea? That was a prize hunt. They should have kept in the museum somewhere. So I believe he was not killed in Pakistan, number one. Number two, sir, when you're writing a fiction, you don't need any witnesses, any evidence at all, because the Americans are what they're dividing Pakistan or India, because they don't want us to become closer and become friends. I believe these things are done knowingly, and I believe at the moment there's no Taliban, there's no Zawari here, nothing at all. They are.
So you're saying this video is shot in Washington?
Just a minute.
No, you're saying this video is shot in Washington?
Just a minute.
No, you're saying this video is shot in Washington?
Please, just a minute. ISI you talk, I think better talk about ISI, because the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria is more necessary than what is happening in Pakistan today. In Pakistan, we have a lot of our worries, and we are sorry for this, that you did not come send your secretaries on 25th of August, because we wanted to meet them, we wanted to culture some friendship with you. Please don't inject hatred into all this. Please,
sir,
we've been living together, we want to live together.
The ISI, sir,
one thing, please.
Sir, all this let's live together and all does not work anymore. One second, let's live together, let's have lunch in Lahore, then come back and have breakfast in Amritsar. That kind of highfalutin nonsense, that kind of biryani diplomacy, that kind of ice cream diplomacy is over. It's not going to happen. The fact is, Maroof, the ISI got this video released. Everybody says this. The ISI uses the Al-Qaeda strategically to help divert attention from the situation in Pakistan. These kind of videos, we are told, have to get the approval of the ISI to ensure that the outfit and the Afghan Taliban get support from the subcontinent to take over control of Afghanistan once the West leaves. There's a bigger game here.
Please try to understand. Sir, we don't wish to have any relation with these people.
Sir, you may be a well-meaning man,
we don't wish to have any relation with them.
No, sir, you may be a well-meaning man.
They are operating now in the Middle East. They are operating in the Middle East.
Sir, you may be a well-meaning man, Zafarullah Khan.
Barrister Saab, let me put a few facts in front of you. The first is, I think you are people who mean well, like you, are in a small minority in Pakistan. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, your opinion held sway amongst the middle classes. My understanding today, and is based on writings by Pakistanis, that you are now in the fringes. The mainstream opinion is very hardline. It is dominated by the Hafiz Saids of the world and the propaganda of Zawahiri or the Tariq-e-Taliban or others. The point that I want to tell you, and this was made earlier in the day also, other than you, by Rohan Gunaratne, an expert on the region and terrorism. And he said maybe Indian and Pakistanis must work together to handle this menace. The problem is that we get no cooperation from you. We have had no movement from your government at all on our list of grievances on 26/11, on the investigations on 26/11 attacks on Mumbai, the voice samples of people. They are running a little empire from the jails that they have put in Pakistan just to show the world. So there is a problem between the establishment's view of Pakistan and how Pakistan should confront India and intellectuals like yourself. And I would just remind you to read Christian Fair's book, Fighting to the Finish, about the Pakistan Army, that there is a very deep-seated desire there to contest India. The second point which I want to bring out, that why Al-Qaeda would have done this, because the ISI is prompting them to do this to increase their stock amongst Muslims in India who have been humored over the last several years by visits by a number of Maulanas who have Wahhabi linkages, who have been sermonizing young Muslim men in India and trying to turn them towards absolute extreme right-wing Islam, which Al-Qaeda also subscribes to. And they think it's fertile time now to pick them up.
I asked you a question
One or
here.
two of them have gone.
I asked you a question here.
Okay,
sir, please hear me out.
No, one second. Let Barrister Zafarullah Khan come in, please. No, he wants to say something, Maroof.
Allow me. Please allow me to ask you a question now.
Okay, sir.
Because if you understand, British nationals who are fighting in Middle East, in Iraq, do we send them? Who are sending them? This is nothing doing with them. Even the Cameron is worried that they are the people from British nationals who are going to fight in Middle East. No, sir, they are not Pakistanis. They are British nationals.
Sushant Sareen, no. Maroof, Sushant is answering Zafarullah Khan. Let Sushant Sareen answer Zafarullah Khan's question.
They do the...
Yes, please do answer.
Majority
sermonizing in the mosque.
Please, one person at a time. Please, one man at a time.
Has been
one man at a time.
Europe for 10 years.
Sushant
it has
Sareen is
begun in
answering
India
this.
now. We must respond to it.
Try to understand, please. I lived in India. Sir, I lived in England myself, and I studied there myself. I am the best friend, Indian best friend all over the world. So how could I say this? Those Muslims who are living with you, they are Indians. They are not Pakistanis. They are their national, your national. You are responsible for them. We are not responsible for them.
Sir, you are wrong again.
Honestly, I tell you.
Sir, you are wrong again. 1 second. Sushant Sareen.
Please try to understand
the barrister talks about the guys who are going from Britain and other parts, other European countries.
Please,
in fact, at least as far as Britain is concerned, I think a vast majority of those guys are of Pakistani origin. Most of those people have been to Pakistan at least half a dozen times. Many of them go for religious education into Pakistan, get educated in Pakistani madrasas, get radicalized inside Pakistan. Radical Pakistani clerics are often going into Britain and further radicalizing these kids out there. And then, these brainwashed kids are going and fighting these international jihad using a British passport, which gives them easy entry wherever they are going. So for the barrister to, just wash his hands off the kind of stuff which is happening in Britain or other parts of where these Pakistanis are based, I think he's completely off mark. But let me just say one more thing out here. My real fear is that apart from the fact that this will be used as a kind of a plausible deniability under which terror attacks will be launched against India, my own sense is that probably Al-Zawahiri is not going to get much traction in India because the guys who are getting radicalized in India find jihad cool as far as ISIS is concerned. That's a completely different mindset. My own sense is that probably Al-Zawahiri, feeling the pinch from ISIS, is trying to find resonance within the Pakistani jihadist circles and Islamist circles so that his relevance inside this AfPak region doesn't go down. Now, how much of the ISI is behind it or how much the ISIS is behind it, which, it's very difficult to say. But I think the Al-Qaeda is trying to regain its relevance, and I agree with what I think Mr. Banerjee was saying, that we could expect some very big attacks by these guys because that kind of a tamasha which they will do and that kind of a barbarity which they will carry out, they hope will win far more recruits from them inside Pakistan, where hatred for India...
Rana Banarjee, do we have reason to be worried?
Allow me to answer this, please. Allow me to answer this.
Given the Al-Qaeda's propensity for big terror strikes, does this change the threat perception?
We do have reason to be worried.
20,000 people in today, 20,000 today in Islamabad created hell for all of us. For 200 million people. So these are the fundamentalists. We are fed up with them. Please.
Okay, so
we don't want to know them. We don't want to see them. They cannot get one vote in Pakistan.
They are backed by your army.
They're living on your
side.
Backed by your army.
Supported by you, financed by you, used by you.
Again, let me remind
Rana Banarjee.
Let me remind Barrister Zafarullah
of victim of it.
Two cases in history. One is that of the British Muslim, again of Pakistani origin, Omar Sheikh, who was in a Hyderabad jail accused of plotting the murder of Daniel Pearl. He was also suspected of having sent money to the plotters of the Twin Towers assassination, the terrorist plot from Pakistan. So these are facts that are already on record.
One person can change your opinion.
Also, you go to David Coleman Headley.
Think of it.
Every time he came to India, he was on his return interrogated by an ISI major who's become a fictitious person now when the case has come up before the Pakistani courts. The ISI is denying that there was any such major. The Sajid Mir, who also was interacting with David Coleman Headley, has not been arrested by the Pakistani authorities. So all these things are there.
Sir, this is not fault. This is the fault of the nation.
Mr. Banerjee,
something wrong, please.
Sushant Sareen.
Please, I'm not denying anything. I'm trying to say, please, if you involve yourself in love, you have a better relation with us.
Sir,
now, what I say is this, two journalists has been held. 2 American journalists being held in Iraq today. One has been slaughtered, and the other they're going to slaughter sometime. The question is,
there have been 2 journalists who have been killed.
Do any other Muslims?
Sir, the fact is that, Zawahiri, I think, gave himself away, Mr. Banerjee and
He's
Maroof.
not here.
No, 1 second, sir. Please understand, I have no problem with you. We're not, we can have a bilateral relationship. India can't have a romantic relationship with Pakistan, you see. Forget all that, the candy floss diplomacy, the unreal stuff. It's over. It's history. We are done with you on all those issues. We're really done with you. I'm sorry to say this. You as a country are not a country with whom you can have a civilized relationship unless you reform yourself. Sorry to say this, Zafarullah Khan, sir. Please understand this. You must reform yourself.
Sir,
1 second. But I think Zawahiri gave himself away because if you look at the tape, he never once has ever mentioned Pakistan. And I'm looking at these tapes of Bin Laden in 96, Zawahiri in 2003, Zawahiri now. Rana Banarjee, I find it interesting. He talks about all the people who are vulnerable in the subcontinent. He talks about Burma.
Live in the present. Please live in the present.
1 minute, sir.
Please live in the present.
Sir, please, I'm living in the present. He talks about Burma. He talks about Bangladesh, Assam, Gujarat, Ahmedabad, Kashmir.
He also mentioned Islamabad, if I'm not mistaken, right in the beginning.
You have religious... You have religious group in India as well. Do I blame them? Blame a whole of India?
No, he does not mention Islamabad, sir, as far as I know.
Okay.
He does not mention Islamabad, sir.
But the fact that he has mentioned Mullah Omar shows that he is still dependent
and I have
safe havens.
Supreme Court.
Sir, 1 minute.
To his mentors, either the Afghan Taliban and the ISI.
Yes, Maroof. 1 second, Barrister, please. I'm just trying to analyze this, please. This tape. Yeah, Maroof.
Sir, please allow me. Please allow me, sir. Just 3 minutes.
Wait, please, look.
First point is that we in India are able to differentiate between the mechanisms and the designs of the Pakistani super state, which is run by GHQ Rawalpindi, and sensible citizens like yourself. We have no crib against you, sir. The point at issue is that the largest supra state, which is operated with the military and intelligence agencies, they have a completely different agenda. And they have been prodding the Al-Qaeda to bounce back into preeminence because of 2 reasons. The Al-Qaeda had become just an ideological figurehead outfit, and they have been completely marginalized in their original home turf, which is the Arab world, by the Al-Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula, by the Al-Shabaab, and now the IS, which is a state of terrorists, which has an army of its own and sells oil of $1 or $2 million worth of barrels every day. So they are able to attract terrorists to join them because they're well funded. The point for us to understand is that Zawahiri has been trying desperately to get one big major terrorist event going so that he bounces back into reckoning. Now, he is not able to do that, and he is now playing up onto what he assumes is fertile ground, because this is the mindset of the ISI Al-Qaeda nexus, which believes that there is a complete continuity in thought between the Muslims and hardlines of Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, elsewhere. But I'm sorry, sir, that's misreading the situation. The Muslims in India are largely moderate, Sufi-centric. There is about 8 to 10% population of the Muslim population which is veering in that direction. And that is what the message for the Indian government is, to get its act together, to preempt any further expansion of the social media. The Al-Qaeda was using the social media before the American involvement in Afghanistan. They have gone back to using it now because they were diverted in Afghanistan, but they've gone back to using it now because they see it as a useful tool to get the wayward younger generation to look towards them, and not ISIS, which can pay the better, we can pay militants better. So that's the bottom line. Our problem is with your establishment. Our problem is not with moderates.
It's not an India Park debate. It's a serious point. Sushant, my last point is, there has been this concern since this morning. 1 second, sir, let me just ask the expert here, please. Sushant Sareen, my question is only to Sushant Sareen. Can I have him on screen, please? You see, Sushant Sareen, my concern as an Indian is this. Our concern is there going to be this kind of territorial battle over the subcontinent between... Sir, 1 minute, please. Sir, please, Zafarullah Khan, sir. Is there going to be some kind of a territorial battle between ISIS and Al-Qaeda for kind of a say or play over the subcontinent? Or is this overrated? Do you feel Al-Zawahri is a paper tiger?
No, I think Al-Zawahri's, I would agree with what Maroof is saying. Al-Zawahri or Al-Qaeda's capacity for launching any large-scale kind of operations has been severely degraded over the last few years. I think they're trying to recoup and recover lost ground. They have suffered a major setback in the last 3 or 4 months with the eruption of this abomination called the ISIS. But you know, it's not so much a territorial warfare right now. I think it's more a war for the minds of Muslims, who they can then motivate and then mold according to whatever poisonous agenda they have in mind. Unfortunately, ever since this so-called global war on terror has started, the single biggest failure of this war has been that absolutely no counter narrative to counter the kind of nonsense and poison which these guys are spreading.
No,
None
Sushant,
of that counter narrative has been worked out.
Sushant,
and I think that is the biggest challenge for us.
But Sushant, I just want to ask Rana Banarjee, who's also well researched on this kind of material, that you know the West went after Osama, so they dented the capacity, right, of the Al-Qaeda. Now, what about Mullah Omar? What about Ayman al-Zawahri? Are they going to be allowed to continue, proliferate and exist?
I could refer you.
No, they are still very high-profile targets for US drones. But the point is that they seem to be very well protected, and they keep changing their locations. Mullah Omar was known to be in Pashtunabad area of Quetta, but he keeps shifting. Also, the possibility is that you know, Mullah Omar may be being kept as a puppet on a string in case the Americans are able to get some sort of a negotiated settlement with the new government in Afghanistan, where the Taliban get some share of the power or physical presence in the south or southeast of Afghanistan, in which case they will not go after Mullah Omar just yet. But Zawahiri remains a very high target, and that is why he has been so quiet or so low profile of late, so, to the extent that he has lost out in the you know, battle for loyalty or adherence from more militant cadres. So this remains a problem for Zawahiri, and he cannot act even on the Indian frontier without the help of Lashkar or Jaish, and in the Afghan frontier without the help of the Haqqani network. So he can't do it on his own. So this is his problem.
Well, you know, Modi is going to...
and the Haqqani network is very closely aligned with the Pakistan army.
Oh, yes, we know that. Now,
yes.
Now I think, gentlemen, the Modi yes, Maroof. Yes, Maroof.
One quick point, and I think both our Indian speakers have alluded to that. One is that as far as Zawahiri is concerned and Al-Qaeda is concerned, their focus is for the time being going to be to try and get back on the ideological high ground. As far as ISIS is concerned, the United States and the Western world is too preoccupied in trying to find a strategy to deal with the Islamic State of al-Baghdadi and his gang, to be able to focus any more on what is continuing to happen in the subcontinent, and they are just waiting for an honorable exit from Afghanistan, and they'll leave it to us then to handle this mess.
Yeah. And as we are reporting this, I also get a breaking news input on the wires that the Chinese president's, I think, trip to Pakistan, to Islamabad, I am told by a news desk, has been postponed because the Chinese government has not given a security clearance for the Chinese premier to land there. That's how bad the situation is in Pakistan. Now, I think instead of trying to use puppets on a string, like Ayman al-Zawahri, Pakistan should realize the trap that it's found itself in.
No, sir, no.
But I thank you. No, Zafarullah Khan ji, it's not an India-Pakistan debate. But if anyone in Pakistan is going to try and get these tapes put out by these puppets called Zawahri,
I gave you.
Then I think Modi has a great opportunity. Modi has a great opportunity when he goes to New York and Washington to engage actively with the American government to go after both Zawahri and Mullah Omar and end this problem once and for all. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on that chat on the Newshour tonight.